Thank you all and welcome back to trustalltruth.com. This is today's lesson, or today's introduction, sorry. Lesson introduction, it's like with all those things. It's going to be about victimhood. Keywords of this is going to be victim. We got a responsibility, we got justify. Then we got victim, responsibility, justify, and we've got possibly restoration. There's going to be much more that it's addressed, but address them, I'll add more words there if necessary. Right now in today's public eye, in the most vital thing is like mental health, right? So I'll address that later even, but victim status in society, victimhood, the value of victim is valuable. It's used as currency in today's age. Is what I've been through worse than what you've been through? Oh, you can't possibly understand because you haven't been through this. Oh, you can't talk in this space. I get to do this because I've been through this. I am owed this because I went through this, right? So attached to that value comes a sense of entitlement. We also have a sense of defect. Some of it breaks apart. So even if you went through certain things, because of things you're not entitled to, if someone has something over you, you become defective. Your victimhood is no longer as valuable because of other certain things you haven't been victimized from. A subsidy. So even with the defect, when you have a certain victimhood, you are placed in this box of, okay, this is what you're owed. See if you check any more boxes and you'll give you this. So in terms of race, I'll specifically address, especially people with non-pink skin, non-white skin. They are deemed as having a higher level of victimhood than everyone else because of representation throughout time. Historically, the things that haven't been afforded to them. So now that the status of victimhood is sort of like a brand on them. So it's some automatic sort of entitlement that they feel they have to opportunity and stuff. That is good in some regard and non-helpful in other. All these are just introductions, so these can be explained. If I'm being asked a question, that's why I like to be asked certain things. What's valuable? Race, then gender. That's a big one nowadays. So they go through the list, they might skip over some. In fact, like if you already, they won't, sometimes they skip to one and they don't even recognize the other victims, the other things you've been a victim to. Like if there's certain groups that have been historically marginalized that are now marginalizing other groups and basing their victimhood or the absence of from these things and then putting them in the box and creating a victim while also not recognizing that victimhood because of their own victimhood. So it's this cognitive dissonance and this assumption of status or position over something that you possibly never affected by, but you just were entitled to this victimhood status and it was assumed from the day you were born through these race and gender things. Like, oh, you are, so society before, and that's another thing. You can become a victim of that through interpersonally, but the first time it's in society. So right now, and by society, I don't mean government necessarily, but government's part of society sometimes. But right now, they're having a fight. Society will first place you in these boxes itself and determine if you're a victim or not. So by these first two things, race and gender, they will determine, okay, you are now a victim. You on certain things are not going to be afforded to you. Certain things are already going to be against you because you are this way. Certain things are going to be for you because you're this way. You're going to have this help. You're going to have this hand up. You're going to have this deficit. You're going to have this struggle. They're telling you you're a victim. They're telling you what handicap you are. Like in golf, right? Least amount of points wins. So you have to start off with a negative. Race, big one. Gender, this one. Then this goes into gender identity. I'll just type that with ID. And then it goes into sexuality. And of course, this is in a Western sense. And then it would go into religion, which is sort of absent a lot. It's still a big contributor to a lot of things globally, internationally, but in America, religion, they don't care. A lot of religion doesn't, they say they do, but then because of the things that they accept is disregarded. They're lying. Well, actually, no, religion plays a big part, but scripture doesn't. But okay, that's what I'm saying. Religion, yes, okay. So religion can affect all these things. It shouldn't, but it does. With society, you come out of the womb as your race, you have these things against you. That puts you in a mentality of, oh, so something is against me. That could go one of two ways. It should be hey, it's against me. I don't care it's against me. I'm going to keep going anyway to get what I have done. It's not my fault, it's against me. I should keep working to get it done. Some people are just like, oh, it's against me. I can't do anything anyway. Oh, it's against me. So you guys you owe me. If it's against me, give me something. Give me something. Give me something. Not let me go get something that we were all born into. But let me get something from you. Let me take this from you since you got it while you were born and I did. It's a victimhood trading. There's this thing going on right now. There's a trading in order for the people that are less able to claim certain victimhoods. There's a trading. There's a new assumption, right? Assumption of a role. That's why these things are created. I could be very specific about these things, but they just need to be applied to what you see. So I'm stating the status of my observation, and this is supposed to be encouragement for you to go out and see how this applies to the real world, not me telling you what to see. I was telling you what can be seen, and then you could add to what is seen, because these are my observations. This is not going based off what someone else has said, what someone else has seen. This is going based off what I have said and what I've seen and what I'm saying about what I've seen. So that's what is imperative, that you go out and look for this stuff. Some of the stuff comes from both observation and experience. So some of the things I don't want you to experience. Of course not. And you shouldn't have to. It shouldn't exist. I don't want to be responsible for a certain view, a biased view. Even though I'm coming from a biased view, that's because of my understanding. I want you to have information that you can then digest and understand yourself. And if we come to a similar outlook, that's a great thing. If you come to something different, that's because of your experiences. We can come together, share those things, and build upon that. That is what this victimhood and to societal pressure, the societal encouragement to become and identify your victimhood and have a victim mentality, that's what it wants to discourage us from doing, is coming together and being alive despite of the things we've been through. They want us to live because these happens, not despite of. And I've said that in my other video, right? We could say insider trading. We got infiltration. And with all these branches and stuff, it's why I truly don't get if people understand that they are a victim in this one sense. They allow someone to commandeer their victimhood with nonsense, essentially, with a facade, with a costume, assume the role of victimhood, which creates another space of victimization where they can be victimized because they're doing this. Just because you're different doesn't mean you're a victim. And that's what I think a lot of people understand. Is like, we are pointing out that this is different and this should not be okay. Does that mean you're a victim of society? Sure. You're a victim of not allowing bad things to happen, not allowing you to do bad things to my space, because I only allow good things to happen in my space, and the action you do, I don't want in my space. So therefore, because you perpetuate these bad actions, you are not allowed, I won't allow you in my space, and I'll keep barking farther away from you. But the moment You make contact, you're getting kicked, right? Because I have a right to defend myself, the ones I love, my area, the area that is going to affect my life force and the life force of the people I care about that have done nothing to affect your individual life that you can defend yourself, because you're being offensive towards me, physically offensive, and or getting ready to be. I have the right to defensively react physically with your physical offense. And that's something where, are you a victim? That's why it's very particular that we understand this, because when people saying they're a victim, they're a survivor, right? Everyone's a victim, everyone's a survivor. So when we are addressing these things, we have to be very specific to understand exactly the particular case, not lump every single case with these. Everyone that's a victim of this same crime is not a victim of the same event. You know, they have similar games but different players. It's too much to say, oh, this is what this is because that was that. You could say these are similarity to this, and this is what that is because it's separate. Because you take away, and this is another thing with victim mentality, it's infinite. Because once you see that someone in their victimhood, or stops using the victimhood to get an upper hand, and they're above you, and you're jealous of that, you find another way to be victimized so you can steal from them and create another victim. So there is no stopping to this. If this is the way life is going to continue going forward, if this is what if this is what changes, we're not making progress, we're actually devolving. And that is the case for society right now. It's devolving into the lump of coal. Ironically, there will be no end to this victimization. They will find new ways to be victim. You are born into a society that accepts and perpetuates this. You are going to be more likely to accept this, right? And the longer we accept it without rectifying our own minds and stepping outside of this and understanding everyone's a victim, anything can victimize you. What is a victim? What can I do? What can I stop from happening to be, so I won't be a victim in the future? And understand your responsibility in the victimhoods that you could have prevented, or where you're responsible. Are you true? How much of a victim are you? What can you do to not create another victim? Because you are a victim yourself. What can you do to not create another victim? Do you care? Because justified actions are a caring action. And if you don't care, you're more likely to be a victimizer in the future than the victim. When do you stop identifying with a victim, or identifying someone that has been a victim or can be proven to be a victim to you believe it. You somehow believe that they're a victim, right? There's enough proof for something. Then you see them demonstrating bad actions time after time again. When does it become, when does their actions stop being justified by the victimhood, if they're victimizing themselves and causing harm for maybe the victimizer, like how much what retaliation is justified? And I don't think society has a limit right now. I think they say an accusation of victimization justifies anything. We don't care if it's moral, if it's ethical. We don't care if it's done right. Because it wasn't done the right way for us, it doesn't matter if it's done the right way for them. Because I didn't get my way, whatever pain you can cause them, cause it. If it's unjustified, so be it. Because of your feeling, this personal need to get justice with someone that you believe hurt you, or someone suspected of hurting someone else, your first mind is revenge, vindictiveness, right? Rather than understanding responsibility, justifying, and restoring. So if you are focused on revenge, you're not focused on restoration. You're focused on vindication. Here, let's present. I'm going to give you a checklist. So, when does victimhood start? When are we first exposed? So I told you the society. So what society does is they classify you as these things. Now, interpersonally, when does the realization of a victim mentality come from? When is it indoctrinated? Okay, so this is when it starts. Like when do you first become a victim? What is a first victim? You can be a victim of anything. As a baby, you're a victim of a lot of things. Your parents dropped you, right? Your parents can drop you. They accidentally drop you on the floor, right? Wah. You're a victim. Is that a victim of violence? It's an accident, right? And that, I mean, I got to the point too early, but I mean, I don't do a lot of setup for my stuff. So sometimes I feel like I'm too direct. I mean, I can't get too direct because some people don't get the explicitness of it. Victimhood. I'm going to stop for a second and I'll be back.